Hello, and welcome to Women in Business, where we interview entrepreneurs and senior managers and show you the strengths, successes, obstacles, and roadblocks women experience in business. Since I believe every person in business needs to be visible, I'd like to invite you to watch www.sob6, that's the number 6, tips.com, which will give you some valuable information should you get the call to be on radio or TV, which I think is extremely important. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at Gayle Carson, that's Gayle, Gayle Carson 13 at gmail.com, or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. My guest today is Karen Briscoe. She's the creator of the transformative 5 minute success concept. Her books, Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day, Secrets of a Top Agent Revealed, and Commit to Get Leads, 66-Day Challenge, offers a combination of information and inspiration delivered through memorable stories. The daily format with takeaways propels one to achieve success at a higher level in business and life. And topics include Commit to Get Leads, Consult to Sell, Connect to Build and Grow, Success Thinking, Activities and Vision, which all lead to the most important thing, which is the sweet spot of success. Her most recent book, Flip Time, Love Life, is a heroine's journey tale about loving the life you have while you create and co-create the life of your dreams. Well, Karen, if you can do that for everybody, welcome.
Yes, well, that's the why we're visiting.
That's right. Well,
Yes,
first of
the
all,
dream.
you're very successful as a real estate agent. So tell us, how did you become one, and what do you think contributes to your success?
So I had actually, out of college, been in commercial real estate and then married and had our children, and that moved my husband's career to the Washington, D.C. metro region. And I mostly was the primary caregiver, stay at home, because my husband's career required a lot of travel. And so I was the home point person, which I was very blessed and honored that I was able to do. And when I wanted to re-enter the workforce, I had dabbled back into commercial, but realized that I wanted something with more flexibility and an opportunity to enter the residential side, which isn't so unusual. A lot of women choose that profession. What is, I think, that makes me stand out is that I became successful very fast. So there's
Well,
a
but there
lot of
had to be
people.
reasons. There had to be reasons that you were
Yeah,
successful very fast.
and what I believe is true. One thing is, coming out of the commercial, I came with a lot of skills, and what we call in the business hard knowledge, and that is the negotiation strategy, how to look at market knowledge and look for where value is and results. But I also had what a lot of people call the soft skills, and that is I have real relationship orientation and connection, deep connection with people. And so that is a great combination in the residential side. And then the other thing that I really would attribute to my success is that I was, from day one, committed to lead generation, which is what a lot of people and not just in real estate, but until you have a lead or a customer or client or someone to work with, you really don't have anything to do. And so I made a commitment to it, and I built a systematized way of doing it, and have done it now for 17 plus years. And that, I think, is what propelled me beyond what most people do when they decide to get into real estate.
So, where did the 5 minute success come from?
So in the residential market in the United States, and actually I would say probably abroad, there was a great run-up in the business from the early 2000s to about 05, 06, and then there was a correction and then a crash in 08. And I had a business partner joined with a woman who had been number 10 in the nation at the time, and this was in 06, and it was at the peak of the market. And then sadly, she passed away in 08 when the market crashed. And that was pretty devastating, actually. I, like a lot of people would have, and a lot of people did, I evaluated whether I wanted to stay in the business. And I met my current business partner, who we've been partners for a decade, and she joined with me, and that revitalized me. And what I found is having those life skills or that experience working through not just a run-up at the crash and then recovering and rebuilding the business, really I had a lot of stories to tell. And so I started a blog in '09, and that led to recognition on a lot of levels and coaching and training. And when people reach a high level of success, particularly in challenging times, other people want to know how they do it, right? And so I would, in this coaching and training, I invariably would meet people who used time as a reason why they did not invest in their personal and business development. And I, in order to kind of break down that, what often many people say they don't have enough time, is I was like, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? And that really turned out to be a very powerful concept, because it's the habit formation that has led to a lot of my success and a lot of other people's success. And the 5 minutes a day builds this habit formation. And along with the fact that in starting small and building up is proven to be another success component. And investing in oneself, I mean, even Warren Buffett said, ultimately there's one investment that supersedes all others: invest in yourself. That is what has been the mantra, if you will, of the 5-minute success movement. And then that's got, what happens oftentimes, you enter in one arena and then other things appear that you're like, oh my gosh, I have a calling to do that. And so that's led to the other aspects to the 5-minute success.
Well, let me break down a couple of things that you said, because you said a lot in that sentence. Number one, you took in a partner. You had a partner in the beginning, and then you had a partner now. How has working with a partner influenced your business, and why did you choose to have a partner?
Well, in the beginning, I chose to have a partner because I recognized the fact that there were people that were doing this at a high level, and, the whole why reinvent the wheel. It was the first year in business, I sold 12 houses, which is, for a rookie year, is really excellent. My broker at the time said, well, gosh, that's about one a month. Why don't you sell one a week? And I looked at him like he was crazy. But my mind started thinking about, okay, well, who does that? And how do they do that? And I started looking, the law of attraction. I started manifesting it in my life by getting a relationship with people that were doing it. And really, that's the main reason, is because somebody else had already figured it out. I didn't see any reason why I needed to go create a new system when there was already proven success out there that it leaves clues. When the market,
so that's number one.
So that's how that happened.
Number two, you talked about getting leads, and what people need to really understand who are listening to this. And I don't care if you listeners are in a brick and mortar, or you're in digital, or you're strictly online, or you're doing any kind of business at all. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. Of course, you've got to be able to convert those leads, but getting leads is definitely a very important part of the business. And the third thing that you mentioned, which I think is very important, is the investment in yourself. I am a perpetual learner, unfortunately, for a lot of people who know me. They say, but you never stop learning. But that is who I am. And so a lot of people don't invest in themselves, and they don't think that they need extra education, and they don't think that it's worth the dollars that they spend. And yet you talk to people who are very successful, and most of them have spent beaucoup bucks on getting better. So when you talk about your 5-minute success, what are the 4 key fundamentals to the 5-minute success in business?
So we talked about the first one, and that is commit to get leads, because again, until almost really, I can use lots of examples, even out of business, like dentists. If they don't have a patient, they don't have anything to do. Churches need members, or they don't have anything to do. So it really, everything is driven on the fact that in some way, either marketing or active, prospecting, or whatever it is that brings in customers or clients, that is done on a consistent, ongoing basis. That's commit to get leads. Then, as you said, conversion. So I call that consult to sell. So once that lead is acquired in whatever fashion, then that needs to be converted or consulted so that then business or some sort of transaction or some sort of if it's in business, there needs to be a transaction. But even nonprofits, right? If you think about it, if they have a donor, but the donor doesn't donate any money, or if they don't offer programs that brings in the community.
No, listen, I mentor a group. I'm a facilitator for a group of not-for-profits, and I understand exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
They're converting too. They're selling you on what they offer, right? And then there's the connect, to build, and grow is the next piece. So what happens is a lot of salespeople, entrepreneurs, or businesses, they get stuck on kind of a hamster wheel of they get a customer client, they get a lead, and then they get it through the process, and they wake up and do it all over again, and that actually is very exhausting. And there are principles to put into place, scale, leverage systems that create this more ongoing enterprise, if you will. And that is a key component. And then we've already talked about the whole mindset and motivation component. I call that success, thinking, activities, and vision. So a lot of personal development talks about having a vision, and then they have affirmations and thinking, and all of that is valuable because those are key to success, but there's also the activities in between, the actions that, actually make the vision become a reality with the thought. So that is the 4 components of the 5-minute success concept and principles.
So here you are, you're very successful at what you do. And we do know that most people in residential real estate are women, and you've done well there, but there is a greater representation of men in the higher levels of brokerage and teams, and especially in commercial real estate and things like that. At least everybody that I've ever dealt with in commercial real estate is a man. So what have you found in terms of diversity or in terms of success for the misrepresentation one way or the other?
So what I've found is that women are, in residential particularly side, they have the soft side skills. That's just more of their natural tendencies and behaviors. And the hard side is what it takes to go from to the next level, to the business level, and to treat it like a business and to operate like a business. And I'm a woman, and I certainly have had my times where I took situations personally, or I found that, it was being in a room of, it's very 80-20. I mean, the upper levels it's a switch. So the women are predominantly in the lower levels, and then as you get higher up, either in running teams, like I run a mega team. So in a mega team, it's almost always the men that are doing it. And I really think it's because that skill set, and it really is a skill set of running a business, is what makes the difference.
Well, it's true. I mean, certainly women can be as great a leader as a man. They just have different skill sets, and people have to appreciate that. But you've become known for habits, time, productivity, things like that. How did you get there? How did they develop? What are some hints that you can give our listeners, no matter what profession they're in, but they're in business? What are some of the things you can tell them about time and productivity? I'm a nut for that, so I'm very interested in what you have to say.
Well, so it came about the fact of the 5-minute success, and many people wanted to know more about how you could achieve a higher level of success by investing just 5 minutes a day. And it really is a paradigm shift, if you will, because there's a Lao Tzu said, actually 1,500 years ago, time is a created thing. To say I don't have time is like saying I don't want to. So I find that this whole busy as a competitive arena has become like a way of people really effectively not looking at why do they not want to do that, or how can they do it. And what it becomes is, instead of time, it actually becomes energy. And I'm sure you've felt this phenomenon, and this is actually Einstein relativity. If you're in a a boring meeting or you're in traffic, you're having this feeling that, time is standing still, that it's just like, an hour, 30 minutes feels like, it's forever, right? Whereas if you're doing something you're passionate about or you love, then time flies by. So it's not really time. It's the use of time and focusing on the things that are energy producing and doing them first, because then that creates this momentum, if you will. There's several ways of looking at how it can have an impact. One is it can be like a domino effect, like you knock over one and you'll have more of an impact, in a checking off list kind of style. Or it could be like a snowball, like it'll build on itself, like self-development, personal development. A lot of time is, you'll have this snowball effect. You'll like going, it'll really start to grow, and then in other areas. And then the other one is what I call the ripple effect, right? Like the pond. Like what happens many times when people start focusing on personal and business development, they will have a ripple effect to the people around them.
Well, I love the fact. I love the three words you said. Use of time. I think people think about time, but they don't think about the use of time, and I think that's really important because you can't get it back. So whatever it is, make sure you use it profitably. And I know you have your own podcast, and you have a theme called Flip Time Love Life. Where did that come from, and what does it mean to flip time?
What does it mean to flip time? So it's thinking about time as being, this resource that as you said, is once you've passed, it's passed. So how to use that time. And you may remember the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the pyramid. And so what many people do, consciously or unconsciously, is they work their way up the pyramid. So they start with their basic needs, the physiological needs, and their safety needs, their relationship needs, their esteem needs, and then they put off self-actualization until all those other needs are met. And what could happen is, for some people, is they run out of time to get to self-actualization. Some people, they get to all those things and then they go, oh my gosh, there's something more. I'm missing what's meaningful to me because I put all my time and energy and resources into all these other things. And so the idea of flip time is literally take that pyramid and flip it over and put self-actualization first. And what I found is that actually makes everything else better. So if you're in alignment with yourself and you're doing what you're called to do, then you and I will be more likely in better relationships with people. We'll more likely be more productive. That's the counterintuitive thing that really is so powerful, is if you're living the life you were called to live, then you're going to be the most productive ever because you're doing what you're supposed to do. And then physiologically, you're more likely to be taking care of yourself, and you also will be, there's nothing more safe if you think about it than being who you are designed to be. So the idea is, there's time management techniques and there's work-life balance and all that. And I'm like, just flip that thing and put it first.
But I'll tell you, putting self-actualization at the bottom instead of the top is a really tough thing to do, Karen. I mean,
it is,
because we go through so many changes while we're getting to self-actualization. It's very, very, very difficult to do. So what are some of the challenges that you've had along the way that, when you look back, feel really has helped you to learn and grow and become better than you were before?
Well, I will say I've had probably the similar challenges that you and your community have felt, because I felt like I didn't have enough time or money to do what it is I said I wanted to do in my life. And it was a real epiphany for me, Gayle, when I realized that the person who was stopping me is me.
Right on.
Yeah. Wow. But you know how empowering that is once I realized that? Because I can change me. See, I was waiting for my husband to change and the market to change and everybody around me to change, situations and circumstances to change. When I started to change, then everything else changed. And that is a Wayne Dyer quote, which I'm sure you've probably heard, but change the way you look at things and things you look at change.
It's so true. I mean, I don't think most people really put the emphasis on themselves. They think life is handing them a bad bowl of stuff, and they keep lamenting and lamenting and lamenting, and they are the ones. I mean, certainly we accept help along the way, and certainly there are people who can help guide us and empower us with some other things that we don't have. That is a fact. But it is up to us to accept the help that they give and then make it an advantage for us and turn ourselves around. So definitely that's all a part of it. So, but you also have something called an 80 by 80 movement. I'm not sure I know what that is.
Well, so most of your community is the 50 women, 50 plus. And what I find is that the staying fit and healthy almost becomes more of a priority as we age, because we want to age well, right? It's really health span rather than lifespan. And so I had this, at 59, I had this opportunity to compete in a sprint triathlon, was not an athlete as a child or growing up, and did not have that experience, although I feel like I'm an active person. And I ended up competing in this event with my son and his friends and placed the fastest in the novice category for my age. And someone said to me, "Are you going to be like a fit person now and do this all the time?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be the person who does 80 by 80. So I'm going to do 80 events by the time I turn 80." And my mind just started figuring it out, right? I mean, 60 years old, 8 by 80, that means do the math. That's and then I found that it's very powerful. This is a lot of research will show that having something to look forward to, something you're working towards, is much more motivating in terms of health and fitness and activity level. And so after talking to a lot of people and finding that resonated with them, we started the 80 by 80 movement, and it has a website where you can register your challenges for life. So there's no definition of what a challenge for life is other than it's movement oriented. It can be medals, like those are pretty obvious, like you do a local turkey trot or you do some sort of event that gives you a medal. Milestones are things that are significant. So, for example, I hiked Machu Picchu with my son. So nobody gave me a medal for that, but it was a milestone.
Well, but I'll tell you, you can give yourself a medal for that, right?
Yes, I'm glad I could register it on the 80 by 80 movement website, and it really the podcast is going to add an 80 by 80 movement episode starting in January 2020. This woman I met, she was featured in the Wall Street Journal, and she didn't start until she was in her 50s, and now she's actually achieved 2 Guinness Book of World Records. Fascinating story. She's in the 70s now, but I just now I'm having these conversations with people that are showing that you can decide, again, back to who was stopping me, it was me, in my mindset, I could choose to change and take these steps towards living a full and active life, and having the health span is part of my life at the after 50 age. Now, it's open to anybody. There's no age bracket, but it is probably more geared towards people that are past the mid-mark.
All right, so let's tell people how to find you, Karen. Where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you? And do you have anything that you'd like to offer as a gift to our listeners?
Yes. The 5-Minute Success is the number 5, and you can find that website, Facebook, all the social media. And you can certainly also find more about me on the 5-Minute Success podcast, again, which is the number 5. If you want to register for 80 by 80 movement, it's 80x80 movement. And please go in there and set up your challenges for life. And if you would love to find out more, then reach out to me, which I'm sure you'll put all this in the show notes. And we do have a 7-day quick start and some other flip time gifts for your listeners.
Fantastic. So if they wanted to get in touch with you, the best way to do it would be on Facebook, or would it be on your website, or would it be on the 80 by 80 movement? What is the best way to get to you, Karen?
Well, all of those work. You could Google Karen Briscoe, and I think I have the first couple of pages, but Facebook and website are probably the quickest.
Fantastic. Well, folks, you heard it here. You see that Karen is someone who's very successful at what she does. She has not let any of the challenges that have happened in life stop her. She now is going into marathons and other challenges, climbing Mount Pichu and Everest, and opening up this opportunity for other women. So this is your chance. I mean, if this is the way that you want to live your life and you'd like to do something that's a little bit different and unique, why this is the way to do it. So Karen, this has really been fun. It's been interesting. I wish you a lot of success with everything that you're doing, and hopefully our listeners will be part of your tribe and get to do what you are doing in a much cohesive way. So thanks for being with us. I mean, it's just been a joy. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Women in Business. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like me to have as a guest, just email me at gaylecarson13@gmail.com. Be sure to check out www.sob6tips.com. And in the meantime, go to www.spunkyoldbroad.com to see the resources I have for you.